champion boxing in sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. If AJ wins his upcoming fight, and Tyson Fury wins his upcoming fight, those guys need to get together and scrap for the undisputed distinction as a heavyweight. But this is the problem we're running into. Tyson Fury is pretty adamant about not fighting after Dillian White. And some people say that's just a little gamesmanship from him, more mind games from Tyson Fury. But I tend to believe that at this moment, he's ready to call it quits. Tyson Fury has been through a lot. He's been through a lot in the last few years. He's been through a lot in his marriage. We all know what he's come back from. He's had all the belts. All the belts. And those fights he went through with Deontay Wilder were very violent. Although he delivered most of the punishment, they were still violent fights. Now, as he goes in here with Dillian White, many people, especially myself, fully expect him to win. But after he clips Dillian White, what's really left for him to do? I mean, there's really no one else for him to fight. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing there to motivate him. And I'll tell you what, Tyson Fury has 6 children now. His wife is there, and she's been through a lot with him. And she is asking him to stop. I think she realized in those fights, like with Deontay Wilder, we'll see how the fight goes with Dillian White. I think she realized that some of these shots he's getting hit with can really take a toll on him. And before they reach that point, he said, pull out now and just stop boxing. They have, he's after this fight, he'll be more around like 180, 200 million. And that's just not net worth, that's just money in the bank. So keep fighting for what? Tyson Fury, I can't see him just sitting at home. There is so much for this man to do. And where his wife and children can travel, he can have teachers traveling with them, where they'd be in homeschooled, and while they're traveling, the kids are getting taught lessons. He can really make this into a fun thing for him post-retirement. But if he chooses to walk away, you can't blame him. So the other side to this is, okay, but why not fight AJ? Both of them are from England. It'll be a huge domestic fight. And I actually think that would transcend boxing on a domestic level. I think that would definitely be something on an international level. But to get the type of money that they can make to really maximize their earning potential, then you'd have to look at like Saudi, but they wouldn't want that. They'd want it there in England. And I think they would be able to break this 98,000 record at Wembley Stadium. I don't know where the hell they would have to fight at, but it would have to be somewhere to accommodate a lot of people. But this is the problem, right? What would be Tyson Fury's motivation to fight AJ? It's like Tyson Fury said, he's not a virgin anymore. He's not going to be able to go and pop that cherry and take that and give him an L. You see, and this is those are Tyson Fury's words. He's no longer a virgin. Why do I want him? He's been beat down. He's lost twice now. He no longer seems invincible, and most people think that I would win. And I tend to agree. AJ and Fury would be a good fight because of the height, the reach. They would match up pretty well. But there really isn't much for Tyson Fury to gain by fighting AJ except money. And when money isn't your motivating factor, then and that's all that's there to be offered to you, then the fight's not going to happen. Now, the interesting thing is, Fury's 6'9", Joshua's 6'6", 6'7", but Anthony Joshua's reached 82 inches. Tyson Fury's is 85, Deontay Wilder's around 81, 82. So it will be an interesting fight because AJ can box. AJ's heavy-handed. Deontay Wilder could not really box. He was just pretty much a one-trick pony. He worked on a lot of things in that third fight with Malik Scott, but it just wasn't enough because he didn't have the stamina. Joshua runs into stamina issues too. So when you look at it on paper, I mean, just Tyson Fury, you have to give the edge. But Anthony Joshua would want that fight. He would want it now. But this is the problem. This is the political thing, and this is when you're dealing with Eddie Hearn and he's on your team. Eddie Hearn didn't want Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury. He had him fighting all these other matches where he can make 40, 50, 60 million dollars. And Joshua chased the money. He didn't chase the legacy, the career-defining fights. I'm not saying he didn't have big fights, but the two fights that he should have been going at is Wilder and Fury. So Wilder and Fury will forever be talked about in the history books. Forever, because they made those fights are historical fights, memorable fights. What memorable fight has Joshua had? Klitschko. Okay, what else? Nothing. And Joshua hurt himself. And now he's in a position where he has to fight Usyk. Let me tell you, that is not an easy fight. That's not an easy fight. He lost that first fight for a reason. And you can say, well, he fought the wrong fight. No duh. That's why he has a new trainer. And this is going to play to Usyk's advantage. Well, you got a new trainer and you got someone in there who you want them to try to show you how to defeat this guy. You just got to come and just try to make changes. It's just one of the biggest fights of his career. I just don't think that's necessary. I just think it's a bad move. Should have stayed where he was. There was nothing to do except, not try to outbox him, but to use his physical attributes and advantages and get in there and dominate. And he could have done that. But, right now, I think Anthony Joshua is just in the win. So if you look at it like this, if Tyson Fury retires, no problem. Nothing else that he can do. If Deontay Wilder retires, no problem. Okay? But if Anthony Joshua wins and he doesn't have Fury or Wilder to fight, who does he fight? The WBC, there will be two people fighting for that belt. Then he fights that person. Who's he going to fight? When you start looking at heavyweights, what's really there for him? Okay, he gets in there with who? Frank Sanchez, Luis Ortiz. These are people, he didn't want to fight Luis Ortiz anyway. Frank Sanchez is up and coming. He'll probably take the fight because, they can give Joshua a 90-10 split, and Frank Sanchez will probably take it. 80-20, Frank Sanchez will take it. But outside of that, they got the guy over there in China. There really aren't any, he really doesn't have much option. Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is a killer. Who's going to want to fight him? So I just think for Anthony Joshua, if he beats Usyk, I don't really see many attractive fights for him. You would hope that Deontay Wilder comes back and get a shot at the WBC title if Tyson Fury retires and relinquishes it, wins it back, and then goes for an undisputed distinction against AJ. That's the fight people will still want to see. If there's no Fury, it has to be Wilder. And that's what people want to see. But people don't count on this fight being made. Tyson Fury, his wife is tired, man, and they've been through a lot. And we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot that has happened between them, and the man just wants to be at peace and relax, be with his family, and do the things he wants and help people. He wants to help people. But it would be very tempting, I'm telling you, if they come and offer this man 100, 120 million to fight Joshua, because he deserves the lion's share, Tyson Fury, not AJ. AJ, if he wins those belts back, he's going to start talking this crap again. You got to look at what Tyson Fury's done, and he's undefeated. That undefeated record and those fights he did with Deontay Wilder hold more weight than Anthony Joshua and his 4 belts. Simple, right? Those are facts. So going forward, if they do fight, I think you definitely got to pay Fury what he's worth, and I think that'll be the only thing to get his juices flowing, because he doesn't really feel like a fight with AJ is necessary because AJ's already lost. But one thing I do know is Tyson Fury's dad wants to see him fight Anthony Joshua, and he wants Anthony Joshua to defeat Usyk. So Big John Fury would probably have something to say about all that. But then again, who is he? He's always talking, right? But if Fury, Big John Fury has his way, Tyson Fury would fight AJ. If AJ defeats Usyk for the undisputed distinction, win, and then retire. And that's what I would like to see. But I don't have the confidence in that, because when you listen to Tyson Fury's wife talks, and you look at the fact that he took some shots. Now, if he gets in here with Dillian White and doesn't take any damage, that's different. But if for some reason he takes some damage, you got to really think about, hanging it up. There's nothing else to do, and go and enjoy your life. But he's got to be happy inside. You got to be happy inside. That being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. Appreciate everybody's support. And as always, I'm in the breeze.